Hey guys, welcome to your weekly astrological horoscope for Thursday, January 4th, and holy fuck, it's cold. It's so cold, I decided to change up the channel a little bit here from our usual snowy program to holy the fuck shit, it is cold. Yeah, how are you all been? I know it's already been a rather interesting week as we've had a lot of shifting energies, and even Wednesday was asking us the question of like, what are we doing with our lives, right? What are we doing? Why are you not doing the things that you should be doing? Why are you taking, why are you not letting this downtime be used more appropriately or efficiently? And so, because of that, we have a lot of questions that we really kind of need to ask. And hopefully today I'll be able to provide a little bit of insight on what that exactly means. So, hey guys, we got a number of really interesting degrees going on right now, some of which I will talk about today and some of which I will actually cover tomorrow, so these two videos don't go on too long. But so the moon is in Leo right now, and it's at the 24th degree of Leo, and by right now I mean January 4th around 5:30 EST. And yeah, 24 degrees going on here. You got Vesta over here at the 25th degree. You have Mercury at the 22nd degree in Sagittarius. You have Chiron still on the 24th degree in Pisces, and Uranus at the 24th degree in Aries. Now, the important thing about Uranus here is that it has finally gone direct. So there's going to be a lot of external changes going on here, and change is the name of the game, quite seriously, as I'll explain here. So a lot of these degrees are really aligning themselves. Now again, I alluded to something that I mentioned earlier, and you're gonna see here that Venus and the Sun are gonna be coming together here, and Jupiter and Mars are going to be coming together here as well. They've been inching closer and closer, and tomorrow they're going to be on top of each other. So I'll be covering what that means on the Friday video. But for Thursday, I really want to talk about this because this is more of a lunar transit. So this is going to be more important for today. And so, we've had this problem for a while, right? We have Mars squaring the nodes. We have Jupiter squaring the nodes. And it hasn't been helpful at all. It hasn't been conducive. It hasn't been productive. It's been a hell of a hard time moving forward. And, yesterday we talked about it. What the hell are you doing? Why are you not taking the leap of faith? So we kind of need to really figure out, how do we balance this energy in Leo right now? Because even though we have a lot of really good energy to support us moving forward, we're not taking advantage of it because of the squares that we have going on. Now, keep in mind that squares create tension for you to be able to move forward with what it is that you need to do. So if you are the hero of your own story, you're the protagonist, you will need a villain to do something in order to get you to move and act and become the hero that you're supposed to be in your own story, monogatari. And that's what squares do, whereas oppositions are really stressful and they bounce back and forth ideas and they don't know where they want to fall in place into. So with squares, we're realizing in our lives that many things are changing, and they're changing because of these squares are asking us to move our asses, essentially, so that we don't become complacent in where we are at the moment. Because when we become complacent, we close our eyes and we let dumb shit happen and dumb figures take over. And this is becoming increasingly clear in our governmental system, in which we have retards at the top of the command such as Trump tweeting out dumb shit about like, hey, look, you got a nuclear button? I got one too, and mine's bigger and it works. It's like, are you kidding me? That's how we're gonna start the year off? We're gonna start the year off with a nuclear bomb threat. Holy shit. Okay, that's a lot of fun. That's what happens when we've become far too complacent, because there hasn't been anything to get us to act, to get us to move. And so these squares are definitely going to be a way for us to get us to basically get off our asses. So some of the squares that I'm noticing here, particularly with Mercury. Now, Mercury has been in detriment because the opposite, the ruling sign for Mercury is Gemini, and it's been on its opposite sign since like December, if not like late November or something. Like, it's been a long time here. It wants out. It's been far too freaking long, and it's like, please let me hurry up and just go on to the next sign. I can't handle it here. It feels like nobody is listening to it. There's a lot of cry, and like the wind that you hear in the background of this video right now, Mercury is nothing more than empty air right now. It is cold, empty, white sound air. No one is understanding it. No one is listening to it. Nothing is fucking happening, and it's driving everyone up the freaking wall. It's driving people up the wall. It's squaring Chiron. It's feeling the pain of trying to convey an important message to people and nobody listening because they don't understand the messages that Mercury is trying to propose. Mercury has seen a lot of shit in Sagittarius, but it hasn't been able to fully convey those ideas to other people. And so, Mercury is pretty much just extremely frustrated at the world as to why nothing is working. But Mercury has a really nice, powerful trine over to the sun and pretty much almost anything in Leo right now, to be honest. So, it's trying to use its knowledge to move everything forward. And with the moon here, it's creating almost a satellite inconjunct over to that Chiron that's causing its pain. So in order for Mercury to heal this wound that is being created, it really needs to understand how the wound connects with everything in Leo, right? This is a spiritual connection right here. This is a spiritual pain. This can also be emotional because it is a water sign, but it is in the house of Pisces, which is the singularity for spirit. It is literally spiritual connections. And so it needs to learn how it can use these spiritual connections in regards to Leo. And having the moon here, it's getting a lot of those Leonic downloads and the information and that emotional connection with others, so that the moon can then deliver this back to Mercury and be able to connect with people on the same wavelength. Because what's happening right now is that Mercury is talking at a wavelength that is up here, but everyone else is down here. And so have you ever been in a situation where you hear of an interesting topic and you want to know about it, and you walk up to the group and all of a sudden they're using all these macro words that make absolutely no fucking sense to the logical, normal human person, and you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna back away from this one because I have no idea what anyone is saying. That's what's happening to Mercury. That's what's happening to Mercury. It's able to get words across, but those words aren't making any sense. And so as the moon transits Leo, it's trining Mercury so that the moon can give those downloads to Mercury so that Mercury can make sense of it all. And then as Mercury then enters Capricorn, it's no longer going to be having that square with Chiron, and it's going to be able to put things into action and perspective. Now also keep in mind that Mercury is creating a massive T-square, or not T-square, what am I saying? A big fire trine going on as the moon transits through Leo. So this is really big on the whole theory of change going on right now, as Uranus is going direct. It knows and understands the type of changes that it needs to emit in the world around itself. And these words that have been failing us will soon understand the wisdom that is Sagittarius. It will take the higher level thinking like an Athenian would and apply that knowledge as it moves into Capricorn. So Mercury going into Capricorn in the next couple is going to be rather significant, and I unfortunately do not know my dates off the top of my head, but with our little calculator here we can find out that Mercury will be entering Capricorn on January 11th. So late 10th, probably somewhere like around midnight or something. God knows, we've been having a lot of late night transit or ingresses. It's going to go into Capricorn, and that's when Mercury's message will begin to reach the common ears, and progression will be able to begin as far as putting out their message to other people. Now that's going to become even more significant as it goes into Aquarius, but we're not going to talk about that quite yet because that's a little far out, and we have a lot more other placements to talk about before we get to that. So just know that Mercury right now is trying to fix its language so that it can reach the common people. And that's exactly the type of lesson that Saturn taught Mercury as it had to go retrograde on top of it. What did it say? Saturn was telling Mercury, your language doesn't make any goddamn sense. You need to fix your words so that you can reach other people. That's what it's doing. It's fixing its language so that it can communicate properly to other people. So that's that, and definitely with it, it's going to bring quite a big change, and I expect to see a lot more people, a lot more articles, a lot more news, a lot more people coming out and talking against certain things. I expect a big, I wouldn't necessarily call it kind of an outcry. It could end up being an outcry itself, but the communication barrier that has been plaguing us will soon dissolve. So that's pretty freaking big. Now the other one that we got going on here, of course, is both Vesta, Uranus, and the moon here. So with Vesta, I mean, I've already been saying it for a couple now, where Vesta is literally learning to sacrifice things in order to initiate a greater understanding of itself and to be able to make profound changes. And so, Vesta right now is not necessarily liking change, right? Vesta is unfortunately clumped up with Mars and Jupiter. So it's like, I know I need to sacrifice things. I know that I need to change. I know that I need to be consistent with myself. I'm not really feeling it right now. Like, I know that I shouldn't have this double cheeseburger, but it's still gonna take it. So Vesta's been having a really, really, really hard time sticking to her guns, sticking to her focus, her sacrifices that she's supposed to be making. It's like, that person who's like, I'm gonna stop smoking because I want a better life for myself, right? But then falls right back into the habit again because they don't have the focus, they don't have the initiative, and they don't have the optimism to be able to do these things, because all three of these signs in Scorpio are squaring the North Node, Ceres, and, well, even as the moon transits Leo. It's not a good thing. However, there is support energy to be able to overcome this, and that is understanding the reason for the change, right? So this is why we were waiting. This is why we were waiting for Uranus to go direct. What will Uranus direct mean for us? Not only Uranus, but also Pallas Athena, as Vesta right now is in the degree in between the two of them. So all three of them are in conjunct in a way. And so this is Vesta asking Athena and Uranus to have a chat and figure out, okay, look, I want to make these changes. I want to sacrifice these things that I know that are not good for me. I know they're not helping me in my life at all, and I want to get rid of them. I don't want them anymore. But she's having a hard time doing so, and so she looks for consulates, I think that's the right word, that will help her understand why she wants this change and in what direction she wants to go in. And so that's what's going on. As Vesta is transiting through the last degrees of Scorpio while the two of them are going direct, Vesta's trying to figure out the meaning for her change and the direction she wants to go in. When that has been understood, change can then finally initiate itself. Until that is understood, the emotions will not agree with her. The direction she wants to go in is something that she will continue to square. But as she begins to understand this, she will then be able to sacrifice the things that she knows are bad for her as she moves into Sagittarius. So definitely, Vesta and Sagittarius is a big, it's going to be a big shift for her. And it's going to hopefully remove the toxicity, I have no idea how to say, the toxin inside of her that are causing her to fall out of grace, if you will. And right now it's kind of interesting because, think about it. Uranus and Athena don't have any squares to anyone right now. I mean, sure, you can kind of say that, well, Uranus is squaring Pluto, so it's very hard to initiate change, and you wouldn't be wrong. I didn't put it on here, but Uranus is squaring Pluto, and it is very hard to initiate change, and hopefully that will go away as we move into Taurus later this year, and then stay permanently in there next year. But in this diagram, notice how, change and the direction we want to change into are the main focus of the entire chart. And there's not necessarily a square going on here in regards to these moon aspects. Our focus, our communications, our spiritual pains and scars and past life wounds and our emotions are what need to be addressed and fixed, and they need to change in a direction that will be conducive for us, that will be productive for us, that will be progressive for us. That is what today is really all about. Understanding where we want to go and what type of changes we want to be able to accomplish to go into the direction that we want to finally be in. So hopefully you guys have found that useful. Stay warm, aside from everything else, the usual, stay safe, stay positive, and catching you on the next cast. Also stay really warm, because as you can tell from these changes that I made to the videos here, it's fucking cold. So thank you all for your guys' support. 2018 definitely started on a weird foot, but we are getting there slowly but surely. I'll be catching y'all on the next cast. Thank you all for watching. Peace.